Alright guys, it's Qoheleth here with a deck profile on my Murakumo build that was featured in a match against Platinazel. This particular build is a Tamamo Toad build. It's a very fun deck, and I love playing it. It just doesn't do as well as I want it to. That's why it's a fun deck. So, for your starter, I run the Grade 3 Searcher. He's a guy that I cannot pronounce his name. You run him because Evil Ferret's not very good, and the only other starter is the ride chain, so he's the next best choice. For triggers, you're going to run a total of 12 crit, because, like I said, it's a fun deck, so why not just troll the heck out of your opponent with a crap ton of critical triggers. You run that much crit because you can. If you really want to, you can throw in a couple stands, but for the most part, this deck has enough cloning to keep your field full and your hand somewhat plentiful, so that 12 crit is viable. After that, the last of the triggers are obviously going to be for heal. We've gone over this. Heals are heals. Just run them. Alright, for grade 3s, the main engine of the deck is going to be Tamamo. Tamamo has an activated skill where you kind of less one, clone a grade 2 or higher on your side of the field, and then return it to the bottom of the deck at the end of the turn. Basically, it allows you to, every turn, fill up your field, and then they go away. It's very good skill. The fact that it's not on ride is what I really like about them, like all the other power breakers. It's just a reusable skill to give you a temporary +1, and it does the job that it needs to, and his limit break is +5k when every attacks. The other grade 3 is Toad. Toad is your optimal rearguard, and try not to ever ride him unless you have to. He's great because he's your main clone target for the most part, because he's just so easy to get out on the field, and he hits 11k vanguards by himself when his ability goes off. So that's why I run Toad, but mostly because he's just really easy to get on the field. For grade 2s, you can literally run whatever you want to. There's not a staple grade 2. I chose the ones that are best clone targets and fun to play. So, 4 10k beaters, just because, like I said, they're a good clone target, plus they're optimal rides for defense, and they can hit most vanguards by themselves, so they're good all around. Next is 3 damage on flippers. There's a lot of counter blasting in this deck, and when you run out of counter blast, your combos kind of stop, and that's a little unfortunate. What I really like doing is Tamamoing him, so you get a second one on the field, so you have 2 damage on flippers on either side. It almost guarantees, if your opponent's not at 5 damage, that you're going to hit at least once to unflip a damage. Almost very loosely used. But he applies pressure for the most part, and he's really fun. The last grade 2 is probably one of the most fun grade 2s I've ever had the pleasure of riding. Is Fushimi. He has an on-ride skill to literally attack anything you want. The starter you don't like a Criff or a Conroe, get rid of it. Just attack it. Your opponent has to guard a lot just to save it. I do run 12 crits, so it's kind of weird to waste a Vanguard attack on a rear guard like that, but if you have something on the side, just play it, and put all the trigger effects on that. That way, it's not really wasting. You can clean up your opponent's field, and still get your triggers off, if need be, but I love Fushimi. For grade 1s, 4 perfect shields, we said it. Run them. 4 AK vanillas. Mostly because there's not much really else to run. They're just there, honestly. There's not another grade 1 that's better to run. Million Rat's not going to do much in this deck because he's a 6k and you're already running a couple other 6ks. Plus, it's pretty counterblast heavy. There's not a good 7k to run. So, he's the next best choice. Next is for Jiraiya. Because he allows you to get Toad onto the field. If you have a bunch of boosters, not attackers, play Jiraiya, counterblast 1, swap him out for a Toad. He allows you to fix your columns some ways. He gives you a Toad on the field so you can clone him and have a full attack force. There's a combo that you can do with him with the next card I'm going to show you. That allows you to get a free a +1 for a counterblast 2, which is generally the cost of a +1. So he's pretty cool. And the last card is Ouroboros card. He's the card, like I said, that allows you to get that +1 with a Jiraiya. Basically what you do is you play a Jiraiya, you play a Ouroboros card, you counterblast 1, you copy the Jiraiya, then you send the clone Jiraiya to the bottom and get a free Gigantode. So, like I said, +1 for a counterblast 2. It's really easy to pull off, and then you can just Tamamo the Toad that you just got and have a full field and attack full force. He's 6k, so I generally put him behind Tamamo. Just, he's safe there. And, yeah, I mean, there's not a bad clone target for him, but the best one is Jiraiya. But yeah, that's my deck profile. Like I said, this is not a super competitive build, but it's fun as hell to play. And it's Qoheleth from Imagineyourgoddess, and we'll see you next time.